Hello, hello. Welcome back to Creative Frenzy. Okay, I created a thing. Okay, so I am working on a new project. It's based loosely on Robyn McClendon's classes. She does these really interesting art books. She has tons and tons of videos. Check her out. She's a phenomenal collage artist and just an artist in general. She creates these wonderful books, and she created this one art book that I was really admiring, and I decided to have a go at it myself. So this is the page we are going to create. I don't really want to show all the other pages yet, but I thought this was too fun not to share, because you can use this in any application. So the beauty of this is you can use your scraps, you can make it into tags, you can use it in your junk journal, in your art journal, you can use it in your art book, whatever you feel like using it for. But you're using up your scraps, which is the greatest thing. Okay, so basically we're going to use scraps. Can I say that one more time? Scraps. Okay, so what I'm doing, here we go. You know, all these little end pieces, some people like to make a page out of it, like a paper page. You know, you glue it together kind of thing, and you make a journal page or whatever. For me, because I like color, I'm going to paint them. So basically all these little strips of paper that I don't really know what to do with, I saved them. Some of them did end up in the recycling, unfortunately, but that's okay. These ones we can reuse, and we can repurpose them and give them a new lease on life. So that's what we are doing. So all these little bits, you know, more or less straight pieces, you know, all those little edges that we cut off of, that I have cut off my jelly prints, or my gel prints rather, or I don't know. I have tons, as you can see. I have more in here. So anytime you trim a piece of paper, you have all these strips left over, and you know, this is what happens. You get all these little scraps. I know, scraps. Scraps galore. Scraps coming out of my ears. So basically what we're doing is we're going to repurpose these. So we're going to get our mat out. And this does get messy, okay? Because it's fun to make a mess. So I'm just going to, let's see, I'm going to pin down my mat a little bit. I just use some tape runner and just make sure it doesn't go anywhere on me, because nothing is worse than when your craft mat moves on you. So just temporarily place it down. Okay, so all I do, and I'm not even really all that precious about this either, if there's a fold, I'm sort of going to leave it. There might be some smaller pieces here and there, but you get the gist, right? So basically what we're doing is just creating like a loose little, this is not a collage because we're not gluing anything down, but you know, it can be used for collage. But these are perfect for this kind of project, because all these different colors of paper, because some of it's coffee dyed, some of it's old book pages, you know, these will all take paint very differently than just plain white paper. So some of this is from a whiter kind of colored book pages. So you can do these in stages. I just save all these little bits somewhere, you know, like we all do, and I just throw them down. And sometimes I don't even have them all in one row. I will sort of throw them down willy-nilly, you know. There's no rhyme or reason. You can just throw it down. That's okay. It kind of adds to the whole effect. So you get this kind of interesting look. Okay. Now, if you have your shimmer sprays, this is beautiful. You can mix up all your different sprays that you have. So you can use some shimmer sprays, you can use some paint sprays, you can use inks, you can do paint splatters, I don't know, whatever you fancy. I like using my paint sprays. So I have some fabric sprays here, a bunch of different ones. I just got these at the dollar store. And then I have some homemade sprays that I made with alcohol ink. You could do this well with alcohol ink too if you want. And then I put some of my Pearl-Ex powders in there just to make my own shimmer spray. So I have that. And then to make it really interesting, I have a black mister. This kind of takes it over the top and makes it cohesive. So you need one color that sort of runs throughout, and that gives it that real oomph, that punch, right? And then of course I have my coffee stain. Just plain old coffee, instant coffee and water, and that'll be the last thing I spray on there. Okay, so now you get to have fun. I did clean up my sprays, but they're still not working very well. So we're just gonna splatter. And that's, you know, basically how we do it. If you're not comfortable with, you know, splattering this way, use your splatter box. I'm doing quite a few pieces here, so a splatter box can only hold so much. But I try to get it a little bit everywhere. Very random. You can do 1 or 2 colors, or you can do multicolors. I don't know, I think I just did about, I don't know, whatever color I could find. Just mixed it up. Oh, there we go. But I found it's so pretty when you when it dried the next day, when I looked at it, and it's like the shimmer comes through and all the different colors. It's really, really neat. But you just let it dry naturally and not overthink it, right? I mean, you can't overwork it, I guess. If you wanted to use a paintbrush and splatter just paint, you absolutely could. But I try to get it just about everywhere except for my clothes. That's the hope. You basically get the idea. I'm just going to do this set with you because I'll use it in my next little media thing that I'm doing. So I'm just going to, like, if you only wanted to do black and white, you absolutely could, right? If you didn't want to do color and things like that. But I'm doing color in my art book, so I just thought it would be fun. Just do lots of different colors. And then it doesn't matter what color I technically have going on because there's a little bit of everything in there. So hedging my bets here, you know. A little bit of everything, and then hopefully it'll match something along the way. If you wanted to dry this quicker, you could, excuse me, you can dab it or blot it with a piece of paper, just some copy paper. That's fine. That works just as well. Obviously, you can't really use a blower with this, or your heat tool, or your hairdryer, because you'll just blow your papers away. I don't think you want to do that, because then you'll get wet paint everywhere, and that is kind of a mess. So this way you get to bring out your inner Jackson Pollock and have your creative mess and fun as you go. So I have thought about, you know, taping them down like piece by piece, sort of close together, and then stenciling over top. I haven't tried that, but I'm not so sure if that would work. Only because it would create more of a mess, I think. All right, so let's use some shimmer. Will this one work this time? No, it's not going to work. Okay. Sometimes they get clogged. I'm not going to worry about it. We'll just go like this. This is a nice light pink. With the red, it looks really pretty. I will show you the final page again. But this is just the process. Just giving you an idea of what to use up, you know, in your next little project. And these are great because you can just Like I said, you can use them for tags, you can use them for pages, collage. Yeah, this sprayer is no problem. I don't know what the other one's doing, but so there we go. Some blue, a bit of brown, although I do have the coffee stain, but that's okay. And some of these will blow over, that's okay. You can always choose if you want the other side to, you know, glue down on the paper or in your book or whatever. So you're not really stuck with one side or the other, because sometimes the bleed through is prettier than the original picture or the original result. All right, so now we're going to use this. Now this is going to be messy, I will tell you that, so just do a slow spray because you get a nice, very slow. It's very messy. Be prepared. You should see the overspray on my desk. Okay, and now I'm going to take the coffee spray, right? And I am going to spray it on everything. The thing that will happen is now, because this black is quite heavy, it'll help disperse it a little bit, so which is kind of nice. But this also ages your paper, so if you do have some of the book pages that are not as dark, it's kind of nice to switch it up a little bit. Okay, I agree this looks like a hot mess, but just take your regular old copy paper and use it to blot it up, okay? And it's messy. And some of it will stick to it. It's okay. So all we're gonna do is go like that. Just have some baby wipes handy. And this copy paper you can use too. So it's a twofer. Oops, no, come back here. All right. So you basically get to make two different papers, but look how cool that is. So you get a really cool imprint, right? Very colorful. You can use this just about anywhere, and you can always lay another stencil over top of this, or you can coffee dye it some more if you want to, if this paper is not dyed enough, or just use coffee dyed paper, you know, whatever you have in hand. So I'm going to hang this one up to dry, and I'm going to grab another piece of paper, and we'll blot some more off, because this is pretty wet, and it'll dry quicker if we blot it. And this way I get some more paper to use. It's very wet. I think this you could use like some of your paper pads. If you're not too fond of the print, you could do something like this over top of it. It'd be kind of cool. I don't know what kind you would use, but you get some really interesting effects this way, and you can really use that to your advantage. Just make sure you don't have it hanging over top of anything you don't want to get wet and paint on it. Now it smells like coffee in here. I love the smell of coffee. Okay. See how cool that is? So I could use half of this, and then the other half I could do something else with. So if it doesn't turn out right away, that's okay. Just keep plugging away. I do have a piece of acetate. Oh, not acetate. Some of my own, what do you want to call it? It's tracing paper. I coated it with floor polish. So I've made my own glassine paper. So I'm hoping this will pick it up nicely. So let's see if that'll work, because that'd be kind of cool. So you have the color, and then you can lay this over top. Maybe I should have done this one first. That's okay. Just give it a few passes. Always use it for something else. That's pretty cool. I kind of like that. Just experiment with different papers. You could use rice paper, you could use tissue paper. Actually, I have some tissue paper. Hang on, let me get it. Tissue paper. Oh my goodness. There it is. Sometimes, you know, you have piles of stuff and you can't find anything because everything's piled on top of everything else. Alright, so let's see if tissue paper will pick up some more. Ooh. I kind of like the lines of the pieces of paper underneath. It's kind of cool. I don't know how well this will pick up. It's not the greatest, but it is interesting. So you could obviously do the first pull or something like that. Treat it almost like a gel plate, right? So you get that different imprint and whatnot else. Not a whole lot of color here, but that's okay. It's all in the name of experimentation. Pick up some of that coffee and that overspray and let it dry and see what happens. If nothing else, I can always use it for a background layer. Okay, so now, yeah, it's more or less dry. I don't want to say it's dry because it really isn't. But I would leave this overnight and then I would clean up in the morning. And then you have the shimmer from your shimmer sprays if you choose to use them, which in the light has a really cool effect. So, and then all these strips you just glue down layer by layer by layer, or, you know, in a row. And you can leave some room for writing space or whatnot else. But here you have it. So it really turned out so cool. Isn't that neat? So I used some of my the pieces that I took off of my gel prints, you know, some of the ones that I trimmed off, and then I used some of the wrapping paper prints that I had. So it has a really cool effect. So it reminds me of speckled eggs, basically. So it's a really neat looking page. I'm very pleased to how it turned out. And these colors, you know, with the coffee and some of the dye that just sort of exploded, like color bursted on the paper. I think it has a really cool effect. So anyway, that is this. That is it. Yeah, no. Speak English, Sasha. Come on. That's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. See what you can do with your scrap papers. Yeah, this is just another way to use them. And I think they would look cool in a tag, you know. Something like this. And just, you know, glue a bunch of them on. Or even just the single one. Just for a little bit of background color. I think that would be so cool. And I think Charlotte Bronte would be so pleased to see her work in this way. I imagine. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.